welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you 5 new 30-minute dinner ideas. These dinners are ultra amazing because you can make them on a super busy night and they're so delicious. So I really hope you enjoy it and I hope you're doing well. Let's go get to cooking. We're kicking today off with my all-time favorite basil pesto chicken. So to begin, in my large baking dish, I'm adding about 1/3 cup of basil pesto down, and you see me spreading it all over. Right here, I have 2 large chicken breasts. I cut my chicken breasts in half horizontally, so now it appears as 4 chicken breasts. This makes your chicken extra tender, and then it also helps it cook quicker in the oven. My chicken is seasoned on both sides with a dash of salt and pepper. And then on the top of the chicken, I'm adding a little bit more pesto and I'm spreading it all over the top. This went in my oven preheated to 400 degrees for about 22 minutes or until the chicken was cooked. So now that our chicken is cooked, I'm going to be adding a slice of mozzarella cheese over the top along with sliced cherry tomatoes. This went under my broiler for about 1 to 2 minutes or until the cheese was nice and melty. Here's my plate of food. That chicken is unbelievably flavorful. It goes amazing with the cheese and the cherry tomatoes. If you want to, you could serve this with mashed potatoes, noodles, rice, seriously anything. I just decided to keep it plain on this night. This also makes for great leftovers for the next day. I can't believe I've never showed you a chow mein recipe on my channel before, so I am so excited for this one. I'm beginning by slicing my 2½ cups of cabbage and shredding my 3 large carrots. I set those to the side. Now into this pot of boiling water, I'm going to boil 12 ounces of thin spaghetti, or you could use chow mein noodles. I couldn't find chow mein noodles at my store, so that's why I used the spaghetti. While the noodles are cooking in my large pot, I added a tablespoon of olive oil. Next, my 1 pound of chicken breast that I cut into strips, along with a dash of salt and pepper. Go ahead and cook this chicken through. While we have our chicken cooking away, we're going to begin on this really simple chow mein sauce. So in this bowl, I added 1 tablespoon of cornstarch with a 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Go ahead and whisk this together. The cornstarch will help thicken the sauce up. Now add in 1 tablespoon of sugar along with 3 tablespoons of oyster sauce. If you've never tried oyster sauce before, it's really good in chow mein or fried rice type of dishes. And then 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, and then whisk this all together. Now that our chicken is cooked, I'm removing it to a separate plate and I'm going to set this plate to the side. In the same pot that we just cooked the chicken in, go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil along with our shredded carrots and our cabbage. You'll also want to add about 1 tablespoon of minced garlic or so. Stir this all together and let this cook for about 3 minutes, just until the carrots and the cabbage start to wilt down. Now that they have wilted down, add in your cooked and drained noodles along with the chicken that we just cooked up and the chow mein sauce. Stir this all together and let it simmer while you stir it just until the sauce starts to thicken, and then it's ready to serve. Here's my big beautiful bowl of food. I topped mine with a little bit of sesame seeds and sliced green onions. This chow mein recipe is amazing because you could really make it your own by adding any type of veggies you like. This is absolutely delicious. Now we're making my all-time favorite lemon chicken and pasta. So to begin, to my pot of boiling water, I'm just going to boil up my 12 ounces of fettuccine noodles, or you could use any type of noodle you like. Into this one bowl, I'm adding 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs along with a dash of salt and pepper. We're starting on the coating for the chicken now. I mixed this together. Now into my other bowl, I added 1 egg along with a tablespoon of milk. Whisk this to combine. This is my chicken that I'm using. It's just one big chicken breast that I sliced in half horizontally. Of course, you could always use more or less chicken depending on your preference and your family's needs. So to coat the chicken, I first dipped it in the egg wash, and then I thoroughly coated it in the panko mixture. In my pan on the stove, I have 2 tablespoons of hot olive oil in there. I added my chicken. Go ahead and cook your chicken through. Now into this pot, I have melted down 2 tablespoons of butter. I added a tablespoon of minced garlic. Once my garlic was fragrant, I added in 2 cups of heavy cream. I made sure to whisk this really well, and I brought it up to a simmer. Once your sauce starts simmering, go ahead and add in 4 tablespoons of lemon juice, along with a dash of salt and 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. Whisk this together to melt the cheese down and continue to let it simmer until it gets to the thickness that you like it to be, and then it's ready to serve. Here's my big plate of food. I served some of the sauce over a little bit of the fettuccine noodles, and then I sliced the chicken up. This sauce has the perfect amount of lemon. It's not overpowering at all, and that chicken is absolutely out of this world. These beefy taquitos are so easy to make, and they're a family favorite, so you will want to make them over and over again, just like me. To my pan, I added 1 pound of ground beef. Break the ground beef up and cook it through. Once it is completely cooked through, remove any excess grease. And if you know me, you might know this little trick by now, but to absorb any excess grease in my pan from ground beef, I always just wiggle a paper towel around in there with my spatula until it is gone. Easy cheesy, it works like a charm. So now that my grease is gone, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, along with about 1/3 cup of water. Let this steam and cook together until all the water is pretty much absorbed. I placed my ground beef in this bowl. Next, you will be adding 1/3 cup of Mexican style cheese. Stir this together to let the cheese melt down. Now we're going to work on the cornstarch slurry. This is a little trick, and you'll see why I'm doing it in just a moment. In this bowl, I added 1/3 cup of water along with 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch. Whisk this all together until it is well combined. Now we're going to start assembling our taquitos. I'm using these street taco flour tortillas. I really like using these for taquitos. I warm them up in my microwave around a damp paper towel just so they don't crack and they're easy to roll. And then I place a couple scoops of the ground beef mixture in there, and then I brush a little bit of the cornstarch slurry on the edge so the taquitos don't come unrolled. Over to my pan on the stove, I'm adding about 4 tablespoons of olive oil, or you could use any type of oil you like. Once the oil was hot, I added in my taquitos. I did this in batches just so I didn't overcrowd my pan. I cooked them for about 30 seconds to a minute on each side, or until they were a nice golden color. And then once they were nice and crispy on each side, I removed them to a separate plate lined with paper towels. Here's my plate of food. I served our taquitos with a side of refried beans, guacamole, sour cream, cherry tomatoes, and iceberg lettuce. These taquitos are nice and crisp on the outside and perfectly cheesy and flavorful on the inside. Now we're making these pork chops in a creamy mushroom sauce. So to get them started, I have my 4 boneless pork chops right here. I'm seasoning them on both sides with plenty of salt, pepper, and paprika. Over to my pan on the stove, I'm adding a tablespoon of butter along with a tablespoon of olive oil. Once the butter melts down and the oil gets hot, add your pork chops. Cook these pork chops on both sides until they're completely cooked through, and then remove them to a separate plate and set this plate to the side. Now we're going to begin to work on the mushroom sauce. So in the same pan that we cooked the pork chops, add a tablespoon of butter. Once the butter melts down, add your 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms along with 1 diced up white onion. Stir this around and let the mushrooms and the onion get soft. This recipe really couldn't get any easier. Now I'm adding in 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. Stir the flour in until it no longer looks white. And then you are going to be adding 1.5 cups of chicken broth along with 1/3 cup of heavy cream and a dash of salt and pepper. Simmer this on your stove and let it thicken. After a few minutes of simmering on the stove, our sauce has thickened up nicely, so I added back in our pork chops to warm through, and then it was ready to serve. I served my pork chops and mushroom sauce over a bed of egg noodles, and this was out of this world good. You could serve this over mashed potatoes, cauliflower rice, or normal rice. I think you'll love this one. I have so many more videos like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed down below the video so you don't miss any more in the future. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.